All right, let's go to gambling. Big news today. I know you ran that out this morning. Bans across the board. Again, what can you tell us here?
Well, online gaming bans in terms of online advertising pretty immediately if this package gets through Cabinet, which I expect it to. And in terms of TV ads, it'll be 2 years. I imagine the financial year starting in 1 year and 9 months' time, because I was told just under 2 years, when a partial ban would take effect. And what the government's looking at here is not ending TV ads for gambling organisations entirely, but trying to end the saturation of ads. You've seen how crazy it is, how many ads there are. Trying to end it being dominating sporting matches and sporting match coverage, and also trying to avoid children seeing it. Now, this is why, of course, the online ad ban's pretty important, because there's a lot more teenagers looking at online stuff on their phone than are looking at TV these days. So that's why that's seen as one you go harder on and quicker on. There are contractual arrangements between the sporting codes and the channels and the bookmakers, which end in around just under that 2 years' time. And I think it's just to unpick that. The government's thinking, yeah, let's give it that little bit of leeway before we introduce the ban. Obviously, particularly the stuff around sporting matches, Peter Dutton's called for that initially. The government's taken it on board. They've done some other worthwhile reforms. I think these will be pretty popular, to be frank, as have been the ones where they stop people using credit cards on online accounts and that sort of thing. So they're making an effort. It's kind of got, we all believe in freedom to gamble, and, I love a punt on a horse race. I suspect you do as well, Peter, but we don't want to see kids, I don't know, we don't want to see wall-to-wall ads all the time.
I think we could all agree
kids
with
live by it,
Yeah.
Kids see it as completely normal.
I think we agree with this. I want to ask you about the news poll results yesterday, but particularly the personal ratings of the Prime Minister, vis-a-vis where Scott Morrison was going into the last election. They're both now at net 13 negative territory. Now, this is a first-term Prime Minister. He hasn't had a sex scandal and all the stuff, obviously, that dogged Morrison. And Morrison was at the end of almost a decade of coalition government. Anthony Albanese, as at the start of a Labor period in office. He says he's not concerned. Would you be concerned?
Yeah, he'll be concerned. He's just, he has to say that, doesn't he? But I will say this. Morrison was behind on 2PP 45-55, and it's 50-50 in the polls at the moment. So that is the number that really matters. Having said that, those are terrible numbers. I do think since John Howard, every 2 or 3 years, people just go off the national leader. I mean, you've seen it, right? So that's what happens. And I think about the time John Howard left office is when we saw these reality TV shows come along where people get voted off the island. So the problem with being a national leader at the moment, Peter, is sooner or later you do get voted off the island, which is an argument, actually, not to just occupy the crease, to be a bit brave in your political decisions. I know it's a bit harder because he doesn't have the margin John Howard had in 96, for example, but I do think it's time for Albanese to take a few risks and be a bit brave, because you shouldn't die wondering in those jobs. And eventually, metaphorically speaking, you are going to die in those jobs.
Just quickly, I mean, we discussed this last night, the turnover in the Prime Minister's office. He's lost another press sec. I think that makes it 3 media directors in not even one term. I've got to wonder, though, I read another report today too, that he has apparently been given the tick-off to hold his wedding and or wedding reception at either the Lodge or Kirribilli House if he's still in office. That's a shocking look if that's really what he's planning to do, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I wouldn't recommend that if I was his new media director, Peter.
No way. No way.
That's not going to go down well at all. I can't actually believe that's true. I mean, you can't do that, can you? I mean, I guess you can do anything if you're PM, as long as it's within the law, but that seems rather foolhardy. Oh, let's see what happens. I mean, he's got to win an election first. That's a point, because they made clear there's no winning before the election. Brett Mason, I think he's been all right in that job. I wish him well. I know these officers have a fair degree of turnover. And yeah, he had Matthew Franklin, I think, before the election, Liz Fitch, and now Brett Mason. Brett, though, has been working for government and opposition for some time, but they're tough jobs. You know
and
that. They take a lot out of you.
He's got a public service job, mate. He's got a public service job.
A sweet DFAT job. Why not?
It's political. Yeah. Well, he's as political as anything. What the hell is he doing in the public service? I'll leave that for another day. Andrew Clennell, thank you.